How did Ahsoka get her second lightsaber? During Ahsoka's early years as a young Padawan, she would start her journey with a single green lightsaber. But throughout the Clone Wars, as the years went on, we see her obtain a second lightsaber. This second saber would then serve her for many years, but the real question is, how did she get it? Well, let's get right into it. As a young Padawan, Ahsoka fought alongside Anakin Skywalker and the 501st Legion in multiple battles using a single lightsaber. Because of the constant battles she would enter, she began to practice the lightsaber combat form of Form 4, or also what's known as Ataru. Ataru was known as an extremely aggressive style of fighting, and it involved many acrobatics such as jumping strikes and somersaults. A lot of it was based on speed and agility, and was really great to use against multiple enemies at once, such as the droid army. As the Clone Wars went on, she found herself getting into more dangerous situations. With her always being on the offensive, she started to really struggle at times. Anakin then began to notice this and decided to help his Padawan by gifting Ahsoka a second lightsaber. This lightsaber was smaller than her first one, and it was called the Shoto lightsaber. The Shoto was basically an offhand weapon for the lightsaber user, and it was extremely useful for defense. Another duelist who did use a Shoto lightsaber was Master Yoda. After gifting her this, Anakin then told her that she should transition her style of combat to Jar Kai. Jar Kai involved using two blades, and this would allow her to deflect blaster bolts a lot easier and protect herself in those dangerous situations. Ahsoka was extremely nervous at first, because she didn't really believe in her capabilities. However, she did trust her master and told him she'd try it. She would then travel to the planet of Elam to obtain her second kyber crystal for this new lightsaber. When Ahsoka called through the Force, she would discover her new crystal, but all of a sudden, the strangest thing happened. The crystal that called out to her was a yellow-green color. A color that the Jedi have not seen in ages, especially not during this era. The color yellow was represented by what was called the Jedi Sentinels. The Sentinels were known for seeking knowledge outside the traditional way of a Jedi. They believed that there should be a balance between the skills of a strong Force user as well as a warrior. So knowing this, it speaks a lot that this color called out to Ahsoka to have as her new kyber crystal. When Ahsoka returned to the temple, she would begin her training of Jar Kai until one day, Master Yoda would take her under his wing. He noticed that she still had doubts about her abilities, so he trained her to not be afraid to use these dual blades. Although she kept failing and failing again, Ahsoka kept working hard at it, and eventually she began to learn how to master it. In the process, she even began to incorporate a new form. This new form was Form 5, or more specifically, Shien. This form emphasized blaster redirection, and it's why she began using a reverse grip with her second lightsaber. Ahsoka would then use both Form 4 and Form 5 on the battlefield and wielded these two blades for the rest of the Clone Wars. She used both her green and her yellow-green Shoto until she walked away from the Jedi Order and left these two lightsabers behind. Later on, during a reunion between Anakin and Ahsoka, Anakin surprised her to show her that he remodified her old lightsabers that she left behind and changed them to a blue color. He worked on these lightsabers while she was gone in hopes that he would see her again, which shows that although she wasn't around, he was always thinking about her. Ahsoka used these blue lightsabers for a short while, in which she defeated and captured Darth Maul in a duel while she was only at the age of 17. Years later, she would then wield her final color, which was white. She obtained these white lightsabers by purifying the red kyber crystals of an Inquisitor, which formed the crystals to turn into their color of white. Regardless of the color she used, she took the learning of Jar Kai and perfected it more and more as time went on. Other duelists that used Jar Kai were Asajj Ventress, Starkiller, and even Darth Sidious. It was a very unique form for some to use, and Ahsoka was one of the greats that was able to master this. But I want to know from you, who is your favorite duelist that uses Jar Kai? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you, always.